pendulum balance theory. So imagine from the inside of the top plate of your skull is a plumb bob. So basically a string with a weight on it. Okay? Most men carry it in their chest. Most women carry it in their stomach. Okay? Because our physiology is different, right? Women have wider hips and things like that. So their center of gravity is actually a little bit lower than ours, naturally. Training lengthens the string. So somebody who's really quote-unquote rooted has a long string, usually into their dantian or into their pelvis. So, now if we've got a string, I guess I could use either metal. So if I've got, God, I feel old today. Oh good, that's okay, perfect. I mean, no I don't. So if I've got my pendulum, I hang it from the inside of my skull, okay? How do people walk? Walking is essentially controlled falling for most people. Some people don't walk like this, I'll admit that, but most of us go like this. And we get the pendulum out, and it pulls us into the next step. And we end up chasing, I'm of course exaggerating, but I'm chasing the pendulum to get it back in my body. When I stand still, the pendulum goes back into my pelvis. Imagine you're walking down the railroad tracks. You're on the rail. You're standing talking to your friends, and all of a sudden, you start to lose your balance. What happens when it gets too far? You step to get the pendulum back in. It goes forward and backwards, left and right, doesn't matter. So that's the pendulum balance theory. What does this mean for martial arts? Swing their pendulum out of their body, they fall over. That's how you steal balance. So I put enough momentum into your body that the pendulum goes to the wrong place. So if you're a decent martial artist, you don't fight it, you go and you stick it back in. And this is why fights move. That's why push hands is supposed to have moving step push hands. Right? Bagua, resulting pressure, so you're supposed to be in motion. Because someone's taking your balance and you're going, no, you can't take my balance. So essentially they take something, they push at the pendulum, and your body just travels along with it. No, you're not allowed to do that to me.
If you were doing staying still push hands, like you showed us, but using the pendulum theory, how do you not lose your balance?
Well, you put the pendulum into one foot or the other.
Oh, so you just leave that and swing back and forth?
Yeah, so if somebody's pushing on this side of me, rather than fighting it, I put it into my back leg and I redirect the force back towards me. Right? This is why the stances are all built the way they are, because they have the pendulum in a specific place. Every stance has the pendulum ideally at C1. C1 is not the pendulum. They're different things. Okay? Because we talked about the center point.
So what's C1?
It's the pendulum plus more. We're just talking pendulum. You can throw somebody's C1 out of joint, you take them apart too. Same way. But there's more involved with the center point idea. It's like a higher level of this. The pendulum is just where do you actually carry your weight, and can I shoot it around wherever I want to. Right? So you look at a typical hip throw, you get your body underneath somebody, put your hip under theirs, and then what do? Pump. And their pendulum goes out their back. And what's happening, right? The pendulum's trying to swing all the way over the top. So you just swing them over the top. Because their weight actually lifts off you for a second because the momentum of the pendulum, if you will, has picked them up. So you can shoot them over the top, or whatever you're going to do to them. This is one of the reasons drunken is so hard, because you're trying at all times to get this crazy crap happening with the pendulum standing still. So my body's moving, and the pendulum's not, is the idea. I'm not doing this, that's the pendulum going around my body. Triple dantian, right? The three dantians, I center it in tangent, the pendulum stays in here. Stays in here. It stays in the center. Then, it becomes difficult to take your balance away. So if you're pushing hands or you're doing an application, and you touch the guy and you see him go, you've taken his balance for a moment. Which means if he's doing it to you, you need to train sinking and rooting and not letting that happen to you. Because it's like fighting minions then. If you can take somebody's balance, their spine and their structure in the first touch, the next 1/10 of a second, they're busy trying to not fall down. Which means for that 1/10 of a second, you're busy trying to see if they can die. And what do you do in the next 1/10? You do it again. And it's 1/10 of seconds stretch out into seconds. And the next thing you know, you've got somebody who's swinging at you wildly, but they're trying to keep their feet underneath them. because they're going to fall over. And you're not swinging wildly, you're picking them apart. I'll block that one and I'll pull their balance this way, wham, while I hit. Now, of course, you're not thinking that. But what happens is if you touch people long enough, you do the drills over and over and over, you start to just feel it. Oh, wait a minute, I'm really taking his balance away. Cool, oh, wait a minute, he's really taking my balance away. How can I stop that? And you just train it and train it and train it and train it. And the next thing you know, we become very good at things like push hands. We become very good at things like resolving pressures. You're very good at, it's very hard to do applications on you. Because suddenly, there's just no way to take those big three things from you. I mean, of course you can still get beaten, right? But it becomes more difficult. That's the trick. You want it to be as hard as it possibly can for them to take you apart. And that's what you got to think of it like. You're not fighting them. You're not resisting them. You're dismantling them. And they're trying to dismantle you. And that removes a lot of the emotional content of fighting as an aggressive, angry liver thing. Right? It starts to just be this weird, violent contest. And that's what you're trying to do. You just take them to pieces, take them to pieces, take them to pieces. Anybody I've ever seen who's really good at martial arts, you watch them like quote-unquote spar, if you can call it that. Somebody puts hands up, a punch gets thrown, and those three things go missing out of the opponent. And then it's just a massacre, it's just a beating. Because that guy doesn't get to recover. And that's one of the other things you guys have to remember. Never let an opponent recover those three things. If you take them away, you don't give them back. No way. And this is why I was telling you in Zaran, like don't block, bang, and wait. Or block and wait and then attack. Because what you did was you blocked, you took all those three things perhaps, and then you let them recover it before you started to attack. It's too late. You had your moment to win and you let it go. As soon as you get the tide of battle, you can't let it go. You can't. I mean, you got to think about it not tournament context, right? Or even in the tournament. It should get you kicked out of the tournaments. Ref says go, you take every possible amount of control away from your opponent, and you never ever give it back. You don't stop until the ref pulls you back off. You don't go, back away. What are you doing? You're waiting for him to kill you? If he's not dead already, he's gotten to look at your martial arts, how fast you are, how strong you are. All kinds of things have registered. That's no good. He should go down not knowing what happened. Right? I mean, it should be, you know, okay, mother, let's fight. Hands go up. Kaboom, what's going on? Boom, I'm on my back, and you're punching me over and over and over, or breaking my neck or whatever. It shouldn't be a contest. The moment of contest is the first heartbeat. Maybe the second heartbeat. By the third heartbeat, the contest is over. And somebody's being taken to pieces. If you get two very, very, very evenly matched people, it might last longer than that. But it's not sports. Sport, you know, modern martial arts that are post-firearms, there's a sense of fair play in them that Chinese martial arts don't have. Not when they're being really done. Of course there were contests, there was duels. Let's stand on the Li Tai and see who is the toughest. First one to land 3 hits is the winner. You know, these kinds of things. Yeah, that's a lot of fair play involved perhaps and things like that. But walking home to your farm, 2 bandits come out of the bushes. Do you give them any sense of fair play? Those suckers gotta die. And they gotta die right now. Oh, please, sir, I'll kowtow to you as you pick up the sand in your hands. You know, it's that kind of stuff. And you throw it in their eyes. And the first heartbeat is you're blind. I've taken your balance. I've taken your mind away. Second heartbeat, that guy dies. Third heartbeat, you're on the third guy. Like you can't play fair. If you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. It's pretty much that. So you must take everything apart as fast as you can and never give the tide of battle back. It is possible to recover tide of battle, but generally you're starting to get into either somebody backed off when they shouldn't have, or somebody was of a way higher skill level than the other person. People of much higher skill level can take that tide of battle back instantly, right? So you never give them the chance, ideally. I mean, it starts to get into microseconds, right? Little tiny adjustments in the body. That's where you see the really high-level guys, you know? You see these really high-level guys, you know? And they just go to push hands or whatever with somebody. And they touch the guy, and the guy's already falling apart. They go, okay, let's touch, go, and the guys go, "Drum," in this first moment, and then the little throw happens, or you know, they're showing off for a crowd, and launch them in the air. The launch in the air was the trickery. Look at what happened in the first hard